Alright, call the March 4th, 2025 meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 1.2, opening, setting of agenda for meeting. Any additions, subtractions, changes?
Looks good.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda for this evening. So moved. Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 1.3, audience participation this evening. Legislative update.
Oh, well, we're
And?
in prior PA and, yeah, 3.6, consider revisions to classified conditions, as well as 3.8 legislative update.
Okay, thank you. All right. Moving on to the consent agenda. I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Any comments, questions, concerns? Okay. I will take all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I know. Rob and I am abstaining. Can you vote, please? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Alright. On to business transactions. 3.1, consider PHS basketball court naming rights. Mr. Josh Royer.
Thanks for allowing me to be here this evening. So it's I always appreciate coming and being able to share a little bit about kind of what we're doing. So again, this evening I'm here in front of you to ask for your approval to do the naming rights for our main basketball, volleyball, wrestling floor in honor of legendary basketball coach Jack Edison. The proposal aligns with district policies and is supported by a community-driven fundraising campaign. While fundraising contributions of the facility will support it, the naming rights are not contingent on receiving the full fundraising goal. We believe the initiative honors Coach Edison's contributions while also benefiting the school's athletic programs as well. At this time, I'll welcome any questions you may have.
What's the amount that you're trying?
The goal is going to be $200,000.
So are you just refinishing the floor? Are you putting in new hardwood?
So the goal would be to redo the whole hardwood. Obviously, that's going to be somewhat contingent on where we're at finances when we get to that part. But part A was this tonight, and again, to be fully honest, this is a very small portion of that overall budget. I will tell you, our main floor needs fully redone. It is well past its life expectancy. Even when I got here, the boards were splitting, and it cannot be sanded anymore. Our ox gym can be sanded and refinished. It still is okay. But the main floor will need to be fully redone to continue to make it a safe playing surface going forward.
And do we know the cost for that, or a rough idea?
Yeah, go ahead.
We had about, what we've learned so far is about $600,000 to do a lot of the projects. So we want to sand the top part, the upper deck, and refinish that. And then the bottom, replace the boards, and then do some painting and some other cosmetics around the rest of it.
It's definitely time. I've seen it in the 80s, and there's parts that still look very much like it was in the 80s, which again, don't necessarily want to get away from. We had a very historic tradition in that time period too, but refreshing that a little bit too, I think will only make us more advantageous, especially in the day and age of, as you all know, the you may know, the IHSA one-time transfer, or if state legislation passed, kids can go wherever they want, whenever they want for athletics. The sad part is facilities are going to be a piece of that. I think we have very strong academics, and I'm a big believer in pushing that still. It's been great to work with Ms. Schreier as well and trying to make that balance. I don't want to ask for more than athletics necessarily needs, but I do think it's well past time to at least make sure our gym floors in safe working order for another 50 years, hopefully, because that's typically the lifespan we're looking for if we would redo it.
Do you have some ideas already on types of fundraising to do?
Yeah, so we're going to start first with just Coach Edison's players, those kind of things. I think there's a lot of support for that. I think a lot of them will put money up to make that a reality. And then obviously the more we can raise for that, it takes a little bit of burden off of our school corporation and having to pay for that. And really putting his name on the floor is financially not a large expense compared to doing the overall budget. But if we can get close to that $200,000, I think that's a great goal to get to, and will allow us to do more with that project, hopefully to benefit all of our athletes in our field, because volleyball uses that floor, wrestling, tennis will hit there in the summer, like it gets a lot of use, more than I ever could have imagined before I came into this role. It gets a lot of use, and it'll definitely serve its purpose.
Any other questions? I will entertain a motion to approve naming rights for Jacobs. So moved. Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Further questions? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you all.
All right, 3.2, Lincoln Junior High update. Mr. Regault.
Thank you for inviting us to the board meeting tonight to talk a little bit about Lincoln Junior High. 3 years ago, we started our journey to become a professional learning community, and that is about a lot of hard work that our teachers have put in, and I have brought 3 of them to talk about that hard work and some of the efforts they've made over the last 3 years. I've also brought Josh Martin, my new assistant principal, which I'm glad to have to be here to listen, but we have Darlene Deerfield, okay, Samantha Van Loo, and Cheryl Kane that will talk about some of that work that we've done.
So to begin with, like Reed said, we started this 3 years ago to become a professional learning community, and through that process we developed a guiding coalition which would serve as the purpose to lead, support, and inspire collaborative teams in the implementation of the PLC process, the procedures at Lincoln. It is comprised of representatives from all the core subject areas, as well as the administration and interventionists, as well as related arts. So our members are all listed there: Reed Galt, Josh Martin, Sam Van Loo, Cheryl Kane, Jenna Drivablis, myself, Carmen Hughes, and Kevin Garrity. As a guiding coalition, we meet weekly, and through that process, we monitor, try to support, we learn as we go. We develop plans to help ensure that there are high levels of learning for all students and staff as well. We also, at the beginning of this process, came together as a corporation in our building, as a building, and developed our mission. That was a collaborative effort with all of our staff, support staff as well. And through that, we came up with our mission as: we at Lincoln Junior High will provide a safe and encouraging environment where everyone achieves at high levels and develops the skills to become lifelong learners. And then we developed a mission as well.
I think I can read it.
You
so
got it.
I think I'm ready. Okay, so I'm going to talk about our vision that we also created as a school. So we will provide a safe and encouraging environment by creating and communicating clear, consistent expectations, implementing a behavior matrix and interventions, being accountable for our actions, celebrating the success of students and staff, fostering trusting relationships, communicating clearly with students, teachers, families, and the community, and then believing that everyone can learn. We will also do this by committing to becoming a professional learning community, building high-functioning collaborative teams, developing and implementing a guaranteed and viable curriculum, using data to drive instruction to focus on student learning, engaging in continuous instructional conversations to increase teacher learning, providing more time, support, and enrichment for all students to learn at high levels. And then championing the core values by practicing and modeling respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, and positivity. Preparing for life after high school by ensuring students invest in college, career, financial readiness, and partnering with students to serve our school and the Plymouth community.
Okay, and all of this then has led to our process at Lincoln. We start our year off with SMART goals, and we have school-wide SMART goals that have been created by the coalition itself that we roll out to the faculty and staff. And then the next step then is each of our departments and our PLCs go back and write our own SMART goals by department that in turn support and sustain the SMART goals for the overall school-wide ones. Within that, we also look at our GBC, which is our Guaranteed Bilingual Curriculum, where we determine our essential standards and skills that are necessary For our students in both 7th and 8th grade, we create those common assessments, both CFAs and CSAs, which I'll talk about in a little bit, that lead to us being able to monitor our student learning and mastery. Oh, not done yet. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay, we also have developed instructional timelines per department. Those timelines are fluid documents, extremely important. They have our standards on there with our learning targets that have been written in student-friendly language that we also post within our classrooms for the students to visually see per standard and unit we're looking at. We have proficiency scales on there, as well as our assessment links for our common formative and common summative, as well as a load of instructional strategies that we can use to implement our curriculum per department. And then of course we can't forget our celebrations. Very important to acknowledge the successes of definitely our students and how they're doing in our classrooms, but also at our professional level as well, to do some shout outs for things that are definitely going well and to learn from each other. And then specifically our collaborative teams, so by departments, our PLCs, we meet twice a week. We discuss our GBC, our instructional timelines, of those celebrations that are so important. We devise our common formative assessments and common summative assessments. We use that data then to track our students by standard, by learning target, so we know specifically where they need intervention help as we're moving forward. And we put all that together in a document called Data Analysis Protocol, so we can see where everybody is with our department within one document. And then we use those data trackers and look at our standards targets and to assess our 4 critical questions, which are what do we want students to know and be able to do? How do we know that they've learned it? What do we do if they don't learn it? How do we respond? And then how do we respond if they have learned it already? And then of course, we revise and revisit our GBC as deemed necessary by our departments.
So you can see that the amount of work, okay, that our teachers have committed to at Lincoln Junior High is impressive. We could not be where we are without their leadership on our guiding coalition, and it's a professional learning community. That means that we're learning, and when adults are learning, students are learning. And these are just an example of some of the learning that our adults have done, okay, to help students at Lincoln Junior High learn at high levels, which is our mission. So we thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mr. Galt, and ladies, and Mr. Mark. All right, got
You did a great job. You did a great job. All right, 3.3, consider summer school 2025.
Yes, so it's that time of year, thinking that our school year is coming to an end and what we will be offering in the summer. And so I'm here to ask for consideration and accept our tentative plan of offering summer school for our 9th through 12th grade students. We will also, by law and legal standing, offering summer school opportunities for our BHC students, and that's elementary and secondary. And then based off of new legislation that's been set forth by the state of Indiana, we will be offering K-3 literacy-focused summer school, going from June 2nd to June 20th, and that will, again, focus primarily on 2nd grade students that are near passing the IREAD that is being administered this week, and the students that did not pass in grade 3, they will have a 3rd chance to take this test at the conclusion of the summer school at June 20th. So should get those scores back in the next week, and then we will have an intensive intervention for the 3rd grade students that did not pass. They will have an opportunity to take the IREAD test again before the end of the school year, and then we'll do intensive summer school from June 2nd to June 20th. So more information will come to you probably around the month of May when we have true numbers, but this is to accept our tentative plan this summer.
Thank you, Jill. I'll take a motion to approve summer school 2025.
Motion.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Any additional questions?
I just have just some
Yeah.
pressure, which is like staff, like does that impact staff to be able to
It does
deal with
in
this?
two
The
different.
IREAD one too.
The IREAD one We're asking for clarification from the state of Indiana because of the new licensing regulations for science of reading. Though that's required by the state for 2027, they're asking that those that teach summer school in the K-3 area have that endorsement in licensure, and so there's some conflict with that because again, it's not required before 2027. At the high school level, we seek who's interested in teaching summer school first, so that then we know what classes to offer because we know that it will be staffed, versus having kids sign up in the hopes of taking a class that won't be able to be offered because we don't have personnel or staff to do it.
The K through 3 adds an additional level of costs and.
It is, but it will also, we can request reimbursement because we're only focusing on literacy. So in years past, our summer school has been an exploration summer school where we've done it with based off of experience. So they went on field trips, they did a lot of hands-on STEM activities. It was highly engaging and enriching. That wasn't a reimbursable summer school because it wasn't focused on core content. And so this, we can ask for reimbursement. We just unfortunately do not know the numbers of kids that will need to participate based off of the results of the test scores.
I think we had a first and a second, correct? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, 3.4, consider resolution 2025-1 to transfer dormant account balances. Mrs. Bulkey.
Yes, so I've been business manager for about 2 months now, and I've had, during that time, the opportunity to go through all our funds, which was quite a lot of work and very interesting. And so I identified one fund that we would label as dormant. It has had no activity since 2018. We do not have any future claims. We don't anticipate any future claims, so I'd like to move it to Fund 2001, which is a miscellaneous fund to be used for some future use, and the value of it is a little under $4,000, so $3,921.70.
I will take a motion to approve resolution 2025-1.
Motion.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Any questions? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 3.5, consider distribution plan for early literacy achievement grant stipends. Mrs. Felke again.
Alrighty, so we have some stipends that will be paid out during the last pay in March for our elementary teachers. So they are elementary teachers who are with us during at least 120 paid days during the last school year. And I worked with all the principals to identify who those teachers are, and they have confirmed that. And we have a total grant in the area of $23,696.40. We will have 45 recipients with a total stipend per teacher of $451.73 for their efforts and contributions towards improving Indiana's literacy scores for our elementary students.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to approve. So moved. Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Any questions for Jen? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 3.6, consider revisions to the classified conditions of employment and permission to hire.
Classified conditions of employment have been updated with a change in title and position from the technology department and the inclusion of mechanic technician position. I recommend the approval of the updated classified conditions document and ask permission to hire the mechanic technician.
Laura Cryer, PEA. This is more of a point of information and a conversation that had come my way just recently. Under some of the changes is the substitute teacher assigned to a building, there is a small raise per day. The question is, if that sub only works half a day, are they being paid half that amount or only $50? I ask that because in our regular subs, it lists under there $100 per day, 50 for half. But for our subs for retired teachers, it lists $125, but we're only paying them $50 if they're half a day. So I do think that's an area that needs to be discussed, and
Absolutely.
if the assumption is it's 50%, then hopefully that's the way all the way through. If we need to actually write it down in the classified conditions, to make it clear, I think that would be good, but right now you have where it seems to be two different kind of approaches to, yes, thank you.
We will clear that up.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that for sure.
Thanks, Laura.
Okay, we'll take a motion to approve the classified conditions of employment and the permission to hire a mechanic technician.
Motion.
Thank you. And a second. Second. Thank you. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 3.7, consider new and revised policies and guidelines, second reading.
Yeah, this is the second reading and the adoption of these policies. I recommend the approval of the policies as presented.
Thank you. Take a motion to approve. So moved. Thank you. A second. Second. Any questions? Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. 3.8, here we go.
Yeah, so
Legislative update.
everything is going from one side to the other now.
Uh-huh.
So that started this week.
Yes, yeah.
So the same ones
As
that
in the
we,
chamber, move on the
yeah,
chamber.
they're going from the House to the Senate or the Senate to the House.
Mhm.
But the ones that we're really watching, of course, is Senate Bill 1, which is now in the House Ways and Means. Somewhat toned down by the Senate, but we're not sure what the House will do with it. So that bill probably could impact our corporation more significantly than maybe any of the others, because it would take money away from our operations fund. So we're waiting to see where that goes. House Bill 1001 has been referred to the Senate Appropriation Ways and Means. It's likely to establish universal vouchers by removing household income requirements altogether. House Bill 1002, this one repeals, I counted there in the bill, it's 62 different provisions, effectively acting as a deregulation bill. Currently in the first reading of the Senate and Education and Career Development Committee. House Bill 1230 is dead now. However, Senate Bill 287 regarding partisan elections has moved to the House Committee on Elections and Appointments, so that one is still, I think they just had a meeting about that earlier this week. But that one's still going on. And then the teacher compensation one raises the minimum salary from $40,000 to $45,000. And it also would require the corporation to expend 65% of the state tuition support on teacher compensation, up from currently 62%, and we are at about 69%, so we're in pretty good shape on that one. So that's kind of where we're at.
Good. Mrs. Craig?
So, what was it, about a week ago, I think, Mitch, Lisa, Lori, and I all went and were part of a 6th district meeting with Representative or Senator Bohacek, and then Nagatsky out of South Bend area. And so we had a nice meal, opportunity to talk with them about some of the legislation that is being considered right now at the State House. I think one thing that was interesting and kind of stood out to me was the Senate Bill 1 conversation about really the reduction in the property tax, and is there any discussion about a replacement fund for it? And we didn't get any indication that they're even thinking about it. I later on asked them, well, have you heard from, say, the firemen or the policemen, because this will impact them as well? And the response to me was, well, they have alternative sources or options that they could probably do, like a local tax that could help them. So they may not be hearing as much from those groups. Of course, they always go back to the referendum, right? But they are putting restrictions on the referendums to be in a general election. And we have been through that once. I don't think there's really an urge to go back that way unless it's absolutely necessary. We talked about the tag, which was the House Bill 1500, and the changes within the House bill, saying that this is really not sustainable. because what they're talking about is instead of having it with an option of a stipend, which is how we have done it in previous years, and going to any teacher who's effective or highly effective, this now would be where it would be a selective award for high needs areas, with a minimum of 3,000, which would go on their base pay. So you could just imagine the can of worms that would open up, starting off with, how are you gonna select the individuals? Then if you do it 1 year, can you do it the next year, turn around? But the sustainability part at the time when funds might be an issue, to know that if you award that, it goes into their salary year after year after year. Again, didn't get much, I thought, I think they were there more to listen. Let me put it that way. They're finding the conversations difficult at the State House as well, and trying to figure out, just like we are, how this might look in the end, and we're just slightly over halfway. So it was a good opportunity though, and I think we should always take the opportunity when we have an opportunity to talk to our representatives and have a conversation. And I believe our Chamber of Commerce is trying to get a third house.
Next Friday,
Okay, they have it set?
next Friday the 14th.
Of course, it's the day that I have a field trip, right? But I'll
We'll be
work
there
on
in
it.
support. We'll be in.
Very good. And hopefully we'll see, for instance, Jack Jordan come. He's already said a no. So who do we know is coming?
Bohatchik and Teshka.
Okay.
Will be there.
So at least Teshka is a new one that we haven't had the opportunity. Again, I would encourage all board members, if you can go, community members, principals, if you can get out, if you're allowed to go there, because I think it's good for them to see that we're all talking about this, and we want to have the conversations with them as well. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things that just she made me think of with the referendum too, they're really looking at bonding as well. And so that could really impact Plymouth as well, because if they do what they're talking about, they would not allow you to do a geo bond unless you had a waiting period after your other geo bond was paid off. So I think the waiting period they talked about was 2 years. And so that could really throw a wrench into the way we do things. So we are meeting Thursday with Baker Tilly to kind of sort through that, what that looks like. They help us figure those things out. So that's coming up.
Very good. All right, 4.1, monthly remarks.
Thank you to Mr. Galt and his team for coming tonight and talking about the PLC process and everything going on at Lincoln. Very good. Thank you to Tri Kappa for the generous donations to Jefferson, Riverside, and Lincoln Junior High. Proud to report Webster Elementary has become the first school in our district, not the last, just the first, to earn the Promising Practices designation from Solution Tree for their work in the PLC. They are on their way to becoming a model professional learning community, and Menominee has also applied, as has the high school. So we're waiting to hear from them, but we're really proud of Webster's accomplishments. Looking ahead to April, we will have an update from our K-4 principals, and our next meeting is Fool's Day, April 1st, 6 p.m.
All right, 5.1, audience participation. All right, 6.1, I'll take a motion to adjourn. So moved. Thank you, and a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.